everyone, Emma here, also known as 8vinyllow, bringing all of you another video. Feels so good to be back on here saying those words again. I apologize for disappearing for a couple of months, posted my record store day haul video, and then absolutely disappeared and fell off the face of the earth. I had to wrap up some things in Teacherland with the end of the semester and the school year. I know that we have some active teachers in the vinyl community, retired teachers, so on. They'll agree with me, they'll back me up here. There is no tired like teacher tired, especially at the end of the school year. So all of that's finally done though, all good to go there, finally on break, music's cranked up a little louder, drinks are a little colder, and it's been a good kind of week off, and I'm very much looking forward to break here. I've also been pretty busy with Rock City Kiddies. Now, most of you, if you've been following me, you've heard of this, but if this kind of fell under the radar, check us out. Rock City Kiddies, this is a music podcast that I've been working on with my buddy Dylan over at the Record Spinner. If you haven't checked us out yet, I'm going to link our channel down below. We're about 13 episodes in and are having an absolute blast with it. So we talk about everything and anything music related. We have specific topics that we touch on. And we have a lot more to come that we're extremely excited about. So I just wanted to take a moment to kind of plug that for those that weren't familiar or didn't know that that was happening. And I also wanted to take time to say thank you to those of you who have been extremely supportive of us already, have checked us out, shared our page. We notice those things and we really appreciate that. So, but we'd love to see more of you guys over there. So again, Rock City Kiddies, link down below. You can watch us on YouTube. We also post on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So if listening is more of your jam, you can do that. But give us a sub, share your music thoughts with us over there. We'd love to chat with you guys and talk some music. That's what it's all about. So although I haven't been active on here recently, I have been active over there. Us music nerds have to have some outlet to get all of that out. So Rock City Kiddies, check us out. Let's get into today's video. Today's video is going to be my spring 2025 vinyl record pickups and VCLT video. I have a stack of records over here that I picked up over the last kind of couple of months, as well as some VCLT from fellow vinyl community members that I want to share with you all today. So let's start with the VCLT. First bit of VCLT is from my buddy Anthony over at Gambler 812. He sent me a really cool little package here that I want to share. And when I opened the box up, right on top, and if you know, you know, hashtag spring thrashing. We were winter thrashing here in 8vinyllow land. Now we're spring thrashing, and in a couple weeks, we're going to be summer thrashing. Hell yeah, we are. But right under that was, of course, you have to ring in summer thrashing with a little bit of Megadeth. And he sent me, which I didn't have a physical copy of, he sent me Megadeth's Countdown to Extinction, riff-loaded missile of metal mayhem here. So freaking good. 1992 this came out. This is Dave Mustaine, in my opinion, at one of his most dangerous and disciplined. Just enough snarl in here to just melt your speakers. So really cool to add this to the collection. This album just hunts you down and reads your rights and then kicks you in the face. So good. Spring thrashing, summer thrashing, we'll winter thrash later on, but we're not even going to talk about winter here. Skin of My Teeth is on here. Symphony of Destruction's on here. Sweating Bullets is on here. This is so freaking good. So Anthony, thank you so much for sending this my way. But he also sent me another cool little thing with a note that I'm going to read here. So he sent me, and if you guys have been watching me, you know I collect guitar picks. He sent me a Space Invader Ace Frehley guitar pick. And he writes a really nice note with it that I'll read off. He says, "Hey Emma, this guitar pick is from the man himself, Ace Frehley. The concert was in Boston at the Wilbur Theater, September 22nd, 2015. I purchased the meet and greet and had second row center. Ace threw out a lot of picks that evening, and now one is yours. The show is on YouTube if you want to watch it. Enjoy. Anthony at Gambler 812. So Anthony, again, thank you so much. If you are not familiar with Anthony's channel, I'm going to link him down below. Not only just an incredible member, vital member of the vinyl community, but just an overall awesome guy. Very kind, very sweet. I'm happy that I got to know him a little bit. So Anthony, thank you so much for this. Spring thrashing definitely will be summer thrashing soon, and again, thank you for sending that my way. Next bit of VCLT, this is from my buddy Logan over at Broke on Records. He had posted some records that he was trying to get rid of on Instagram, and I saw one that I wasn't familiar with, a cover, but I was reading the hype sticker and I was like, that is right down my alley. First and foremost though, he sends this box with this custom 8vinyllow Van Halen artwork, so I had to show that. But I was very interested in this album and was kind of asking him about it, and then a couple weeks later it showed up on my porch. The album that I'm talking about is Promise. Now, if you are kind of in the power pop realm, if you're a huge power pop person, maybe you've heard of this. This was originally self-released by a Boulder, Colorado band named Promise, put out this self-titled album, and this is, to me, a standout example of Beatle-esque influenced power pop. It was originally private pressed, but this is a first-time reissue. And what's really unique about this came out in 1980. Well, at the time, right, you had bands really kind of digging into the punk and new wave trends of the era. And what's neat about this band is that they kind of favored that classic early 70s melodic guitar pop sound that is extremely reminiscent of your Big Stars, your Badfingers, your Raspberries, early Cheap Trick, Shoes, Emmett Rhodes. I'm just reading the hype sticker here. So you definitely get your jangly guitars, you get your heartfelt lyrics, very, very catchy stuff. You get tight rhythms. It very much has this timeless feel. So although this came out in 1980, you can tell that it is really rooted in that 60s garage rock into early 70s power pop sound. So now reissued from the original master tapes. Knew nothing about this until Logan sent this to me. This edition also features detailed liner notes drawn from interviews from the band, different photographs. So this is a must for fans of British Invasion style pop as well as vintage power pop, which, come on. So here is the album cover, and if we get inside you can see those detailed liner notes, photographs of the band there. Definitely a lost gem in the when they say detailed or liner notes, they weren't kidding. That is detailed. But really, really great stuff. Really, really fun. Must have if you are a power pop fanatic, as I am. Next piece of VCLT, this is from Dylan over at the Record Spinner. We were on a live stream, probably about a month or so ago, and we were having discussions. Whatever we talk about goes all different directions if you've seen those streams. And the conversation came up that I didn't have Destroyer. No bueno in Dylan's world for one of his best friends to not have Destroyer. So 2 days later, this shows up at my door. An absolute landmark album in Kiss's catalog. He has been helping me build up my Kiss collection. What I will never own, even if he sends it to me, I will throw it out my window, is Music from the Elder, but we don't have to get into that. This has the classics. This has Detroit Rock City, which, speaking of Rock City Kiddies right there. Also has Beth on here. This was produced by Bob Ezrin, which has a really great production style. I'm a huge fan of his. He does great work, and he really does help the band out in the studio with this. So it kind of moves from gritty glam rockers into the rock icons that they are. This is an absolute classic. So thank you, Dylan, for sending this my way. Finally can say I have this in the collection. Let's get into the vinyl haul, my pickups. So everybody and their mothers has been showing this record, but I want to show it as well. And this just came out about a month or so ago. Really exciting release. Pink Floyd at Pompeii. Super excited that this finally got an official release. I saw the IMAX release of this film when it came out. I saw it on that Thursday. And then, which was actually, funny enough, that was the first time that I ever saw the full Pink Floyd Pompeii film. like straight through. And so I'm pretty spoiled because I saw it in IMAX, so how could I ever watch it again? But actually, speaking of, and I'm going to keep going back to this, Rock City Kiddies, we did an entire episode talking about our experience seeing this in IMAX, as well as our thoughts on the vinyl release. The one thing that I really, really appreciate about this release is the packaging. They did it right. I mean, and I know you either have this or have seen enough of this, but first off, it feels wonderful. Wonderful jacket, sturdy, beautiful glossy gatefold. Okay, you have your custom inner sleeves, very, very sturdy. Very nice. You have your custom labels. I mean, take notes. If you're gonna release an album, this is the way to package it. Huge fan of this. Sounds fantastic, and glad to add that in my collection. Really, really fun. Pink Floyd at Pompeii. We're gonna switch gears. We're actually gonna go back to spring thrashing. I'm gonna talk about a new band that I've really been getting into recently, and that is a band out of Chicago, Illinois, called Misfire. So they recently released their sophomore album, second album, Product of the Environment. This came out about a month ago. This is a raw and powerful reflection of the band's evolution. Originally, I think that they were formed in 2018. They put out a record before this, and now this is their most recent release. What a freaking banger of a record. This is a 12-track album. It blends classic thrash with progressive melodic influences in there. The production of this is just absolutely freaking awesome. It touches on themes of digital surveillance, betrayal, personal loss. It has different guest appearances on there from very notable musicians in the metal scene. In fact, one of my favorite songs off of this album is the track Left for Dead. What a freaking amazing song. But Rob Dukes, formerly of Exodus and now back in Exodus, lends his vocals on there. What a great song. We Went Through Hell and Living the Dream were both singles that were released before this came out. So good. Born to Die, just, listen, this is just straight in your face thrash. It really is. Sounds amazing. The riffs are spot on. The drums sound great. Snarling vocals, just everything you want from a classic thrash album. This band has it. I mean, first off, look at that logo, look at that cover. This just screams thrash. So, what a great album. Artificially Intelligent, that's track number 11 off here. So unbelievably good. So, highly recommend if you want to spring thrash, summer thrash, you're just in the mood for some really good new music. Highly recommend checking out this band, Misfire. Again, out of Chicago, Illinois. You guys know I love my Illinois bands. This is just so good. What a great album. I can see this being in like my top 20 of the year for sure. Go into the insert here. Lyric insert. You have elements of Exodus in here. Elements of Slayer in here. I definitely hear some Warbringer in here, even a little bit of Metallica. It's just so good. And then, on top of all of that, I love a good splatter. Okay. Love a good splatter. You get this kind of green and black splatter that matches well with the cover. So, I can't say enough good things about this record. Misfire, Product of the Environment. This gets the 8vinyllow stamp of approval for sure. I do want to plug this, and that is Bob Mould's Here We Go Crazy on, I love this, black, white, and blue smush. Whatever that means, vinyl. I love that. Okay, so a couple months ago, I did a discussion and conversation with Richard over at Richard's Vinyl Tap House. I will link that discussion down below. When this originally was released, we kind of dissected this and went through everything. So this is very much a Bob Mould record. I know that sounds, well, you're like, duh, but this is just classic Bob Mould. It's a passionate rock album. It has some Sugar influences in here that mixes those personal stories with commentary on today's troubled world. very Bob Mould-esque. He definitely draws on his punk roots here, but again, you do hear those 90s alternative sounds in there, very clear, tackles different themes like addiction and love and injustice, but also staying hopeful in those times. I really, really love this album. Right now, there's so much great music coming out. I know that that's already been put out, that's going to be coming out, and but this for me right now is sitting at like my top 5 favorite albums of the year so far. We still have a long way to go. But this album's kind of split into different parts. You have very energetic type anthems. The title track is excellent. Firmink Augers off here is a standout track. I have a soft spot for the song When Your Heart Is Broken. Neanderthal's on here. Breathing Room is great. I mean, there's just so many different layers to this album, and I don't know why that's not popping back in. So many different layers to this album, and when it comes on Smush, you gotta check it out. So if you're a Bob Mould fan, you haven't properly given this a listen, definitely recommend checking that out. Finally re-added this classic to the collection. Steve, if A is for Alice, B is for Bob, C is for Cheap Trick is watching, he's gonna love that I finally picked this up again. 1974, Crime of the Century. This was the album that transformed Supertramp from a semi-struggling British prog rock band into just absolute international superstars. What a fantastic record. Their third studio album, first to feature that classic lineup that would really define that golden era for them, Roger and Rick and so on. Just show this for fun. This one, the back cover always gets me. Anyway, this album, it blends that progressive rock ambition with a little bit of pop sensibility to it. Features great arrangements in here, very dramatic piano lines, very thoughtful lyrics. The themes in here, you have mental health, alienation, societal pressures, school. It kicks off with School, which is a great song, one of my favorites off here. Dreamer, Rudy, just what a fantastic record. This is a must-have for any record collection, and I did own this a handful of years back, but it wasn't in the best shape, and so I ended up getting rid of it with just, when I was purging some records, I got rid of it. I was like, I can pick this up again, and it took a few years for me to realize, oh, I need this. I think I was sitting around one night and I was like, I really want to listen to some Supertramp, and I really want to listen to Crime of the Century, and then I totally thought I had it, and I went back into my collection, no Crime of the Century, went on Discogs, no Crime of the Century. I was like, I need to fix that. So finally, back in the collection, I now have an approved vinyl collection now that this is back in it. So has that happened anywhere else where you think that you have a record and you go to pull it and then you realize that you don't? Because I was shocked when I was like, how do I not have this record? And then I remembered, oh yeah, I purged that one copy. Anyway, let me know if that's happened to you. So, found this at my local record store, and I was very excited to see this because I've been having some issues finding this record. So finally have this. This is Bert Jansch, LA Turnaround. This was also released in 1974. Definitely not the same as Crime of the Century, but this album marked a fresh start for this legendary British folk guitarist, Bert Jansch. It was originally, he played with Pentangle, and then he had a solo career of his own. This is not your debut Bert Jansch. This is not your Jack O'Brien. This is a little different. This is Jansch very much embracing his time in America. He kind of reestablished himself as this solo artist with a more transatlantic sound in a way. This particular copy, this was a Record Store Day reissue put out a handful of years ago by Earth Recordings. They've done a wonderful job preserving and reissuing Jansch's catalog. I didn't pick this up for Record Store Day, but somebody must have traded this in, and I saw this at my record store, and I picked this up immediately. It comes on this blue vinyl here. It was produced by Michael Nesmith and was recorded partly in LA, hence the name LA Turnaround. Brings this kind of laid-back West Coast vibe to Jansch's more traditional British folk roots. He blends elements of country, blues, soft rock in here. Great track kicking off this album that's called Fresh as a Sweet Sunday Morning. Beautiful, beautiful song. Stone Monkey is great. He also reimagines his song Needle of Death on here. I love this album cover. Absolutely love it. His vocals are warm on here. He has that fluid guitar work, everything that you want from a Bert Jansch record. So, it was not a commercial blockbuster by any means, but it is now, especially in you know, the circles of Bert Jansch fans and so on. This is a standout in his discography. But I love this jacket. I love the front. I love the back. All these photographs on here. I love stuff like that. What's really neat as well, as it comes with the CD with some bonus tracks on here. Here is the insert. Even the insert's nice, and then it even has the Obi strip. Now this is a band from Chicago, Illinois. They were Illinois. They were formed in 1976, and this is a band that never really got their due. I love this album cover so much. Okay, so the band that I'm talking about is Trillion. They released this album that came out, self-titled album that came out in 1978, and then they released an album, and I can't think of the name off the top of my head, Close Approach or something like that, a couple of years later in 1980, and then just it wasn't successful, and then just kind of dropped. But this album, this is actually really, really good. This is Trillion's self-titled debut album, like I said, 1978. It is a very polished blend of progressive rock and AOR. So they had those, and especially on this album, right, you have your kind of radio-friendly hooks on here, which appeals to fans. They kind of give off Stick vibes. They definitely remind me of Kansas. They remind me of Toto. Even in early Journey in a way, a little proggier, but this is actually a really good album. I do enjoy this. There's a track off of here called Give Me Your Money, Honey, which on Instagram was one of my songs of the day about a couple months ago, which kind of inspired me to pick this up. Another great song off of here is May As Well Go. What a rocker of a song. So this album showcases very tight arrangements. You have layered harmonies on here. You have great musicianship, standout musicianship, especially from the guitarist and from the keyboardist, who would later become key collaborators with artists like Madonna and Pink Floyd and so on. Vocalist Fergie Fredrickson, if you're kind of in that realm and sphere, he later on went to sing with, I believe, Toto. He also did some stuff with Survivor, so again, kind of Jim Peter connection there, but just really strong vocals on here. This is a great record. Like I said, if you kind of want a different hard rock, AOR, progressive rock album, something new and fresh that you haven't heard before, I highly recommend checking this band out. The second album that they put out kind of leans a little more poppy. I think after this didn't gain notoriety and success, they went more of a pop route, and it didn't really work out in their favor. So they didn't break out into the mainstream at the time, but since then this has gained cult status over the years. It has clean production, it has high caliber playing, and that crossover appeal between prog and melodic rock. So it's definitely a hidden gem in the late 70s rock scene, and it is extremely accessible, not only to listen to, but also to pick up. You can find this in just about any bargain bin, couple bucks. I think I got this copy for $3 or $4, whatever it was. So, and just the artwork alone is so damn cool. There is the Orange Epic label, and I believe they do have a printed inner sleeve. Yeah, I mean, come on. This doesn't get more 70s AOR proggy than this. Look at that. All right, last two records are from, I've really been getting into XTC, had to pick these up, of course this one, and that is Drums and Wires. This is their third studio album and a breakthrough for them creatively and commercially. It was released in 1979. And definitely marked a new chapter for the band. It solidified a lineup that would define their classic period for a while. This includes the song Making Plans for Nigel. I always have to say it that way. You can't say it any other way. You can't just say it. You have to say Making Plans for Nigel. Anyway, their first major hit, which definitely kind of launched them into the mainstream. So lyrically, this album is great. I've just really been getting into XTC recently. I know I picked up Skylarking, I picked up English Settlement recently, and so you can't have an XTC collection, kind of like Supertramp, Crime of the Century. You can't have a record collection without Drums and Wires in it. It helped XTC move from this kind of cult favorite to respected innovators in the new wave scene, especially sort of entering the 1980s. So came out in 79, they get into the 80s, and then the last album is actually from the 80s, and it's different from their other releases. I actually really, really like this album, and I think fans have since warmed up to it, but the album that I'm talking about, and this is my last pickup for this video, is XTC's Mummer. This came out in 1983. It marks a pivotal moment in the career of English band XTC. It was their sixth studio album and their first after retiring from live performances, which was a decision that was primarily driven by frontman Andy Partridge. He sort of struggled with anxiety and things like that, and so they had made a decision, or I guess really he had made a decision, to step away from live performances and kind of focus on being more of a studio band. And that is sort of reflective in this release. So I would say that as a result of all of this, Mummer reflects a shift from the band's kind of earlier post-punk energy to a more soft, folkier, pastoral, studio-focused sound. As I mentioned before I showed this, I really, really like this album. It's kind of a sweet spot for me. This is like a perfect Sunday morning, or just morning in general. Kick back with some coffee, listen to it. I really like it. So, as you can tell by the name and some of the songs off of here, I'll read some off here. You have Beating of Hearts, Wonderland, Love on a Farm Boy's Wages, Lady Bird, Me and the Wind. It explores different themes of English countryside life. It has some personal introspection in there. It talks about seasonal changes, stuff like that. Hence the title, which refers to actually traditional English folk performers that were known as mummers. So that's where the title comes from. It wasn't a commercial success by any means, but I do think that it has gained appreciation for its artistic ambition and is now seen as definitely a crucial, I would say, transition between their earlier edginess and different lush soundscapes like skylarking and so on. So highly recommend Mummer. No Mummer hate here. Only music from the Elder hate on this channel. Those are my vinyl record pickups over the last couple of months. VCLT from fellow vinyl community members. So real quickly, again, thank you to Anthony over at Gambler 812, Logan at Broke On Records, and Dylan over at The Record Spinner for sending some VCLT my way. Very much appreciated. If those are new names or new channels to you, check them out down below. Give them some love, give them a sub, all of that fun stuff. As always, let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear from you guys what your thoughts are on these albums, these pickups, if you have recommendations, whatever it is. I would love to talk music with you guys. But that will wrap up this video. I hope that all of you are doing well. Weather has been beautiful here in Illinois over the last few days, so I'm gonna go soak up some sunshine and enjoy my time off. With that, everybody, have a great rest of your day, night, whenever you're watching, and I will see you guys for my next video. Bye, guys.